Alright, hello boys and girls. Today we're gonna do a new series, okay? And this series is going to be about WebRTC. Now in this series we're going to cover WebRTC with Python. We'll do it with JavaScript. We'll do it on Unity 3D or just Unity. We're gonna do it with I think Android Studio as well. Android Studio. Okay. The language is going to be Kotlin apparently. Okay. Unity is going to be C# and JavaScript is JavaScript. So this is going to be for web. So we're going to cover all that in this series, but we'll start with Python. Now I'm using Linux. You don't have to, but just get Linux, okay? Much better than Windows. Alright, so let's get started. Now we're going to create a new folder on our desktop. Let's just call it, let's call it WebRTC, why not? WebRTC, good. I'm also going to create another folder and we'll just call it Python, or just, how you like to call it, Sada Python. If you don't know what Sada is, Sada means R, okay. So Sada equals R. Great, there we go. So now let's bring up our Visual Studio. Open the folder that we just created. What the hell is going on? Where is my folder? I created this somewhere else, didn't I? Oh, it's inside WebRTC. There we go. Good. We'll create a new file. We'll just save it as, let's just call it main.py. That's what I like to do normally. That's got main.py. Okay. Now, with Python, it's going to be Python 3. Okay. I'm using 3.8 actually. Now, I'm using Python with Anaconda. What is Anaconda, if you ask? Let's have a look. So we have Anaconda, Python. So Anaconda is apparently a distribution, whatever that means. But essentially what it allows you to do is allows you to install things much quicker, and usually things work as compared to when you use virtual environment or something like that. Anyways, doesn't matter. Just install Anaconda. Okay. Once you installed Anaconda, you want to create a new environment. So let's do that. Let's bring up our terminal. Okay. So let's create a new Anaconda environment and we'll just put everything in there. So you need conda create. Let's name it WebRTC. Okay, remember, we're just making an environment, and for that we're going to need Python 3. It's also automatically going to pick up 3.8, which is the latest one. Okay, so let it do its thing. While it's doing it, let's talk a little bit about WebRTC. Okay, what is WebRTC and why it's important? Well, WebRTC, the main thing about WebRTC is something called LAN traversal. Okay, I think I spelled it right. So what is LAN traversal? Well, or you actually net traversal. That's the right term. Net traversal. There we go. So basically, what happens? So when you host a website, you have to host it on a PC that's publicly accessible. Okay, so if let's say I go to a website, any website, even YouTube, these websites are hosted on static IP addresses, on public IP addresses, and you can reach them. Okay, but if I try to reach, if I host something on my PC, okay, and if I try to reach it from somewhere else across the internet, it's not going to work. Okay, why? Because by default, the incoming ports are usually blocked. They are blocked by firewall. They are blocked by your router. So it's not easy to host your website on your local machine. Okay. Not just that. Okay. All right. So WebRTC helps us with that. Okay. WebRTC helps us with LAN traversal, which basically means we can reach a computer, a PC, okay, or whatever's running your software. We can reach it across the internet without having to worry about firewalls or routers or anything like that. Okay, so it's very magical in that regard. Okay, and on top of that, obviously you can create chat apps, video apps, video call, audio call, because it allows you to talk to a computer directly, peer to peer. Okay, read more about it, but if you're watching this stream, I think you already know about WebRTC. Okay, so we won't go into too much detail. Let's have a look what our Anaconda is doing. Okay, so it's going to install a lot of things now, so we'll just say yes, do it. Okay, so yeah, it's going to do its thing. There are lots of interesting articles on WebRTC. Read them. YouTube it as well. WebRTC. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there's few tutorials as well. I haven't seen one on in Python. I'm pretty sure there are, but this one is going to cover everything about WebRTC. Hopefully, okay. This is going to be very hands-on thing. So if you watch this stream, you should be able to do WebRTC. Okay, if that makes sense. Anyways, let's see how. Okay, so our new environment is now created. Let's activate this environment. So it just needs Conda activate. So now as you can see, this environment has been activated. So everything we're gonna now do, install and things like that, we're gonna do it in this environment. Okay. Now I'm just gonna open my Visual Studio in the same environment as well. Again, you don't have to do Anaconda. I just like it because it just makes things easier. You can just do virtual environment or something like that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna need to restart my Visual Studio. Alright, there we go. Now I should be able to select the correct environment. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. Okay, dude, come on. There we go. Let's look for the one named WebRTC. There we go. Awesome. Asking me to install Pylint, which if you don't know, it just allows you to debug better, apparently. So let's just do it. Very easy to do. Okay, done. Again, if you're new to this, the whole thing might be a little bit, but yeah, don't worry about it. You'll pick it up. Okay, there we go. Now, so yeah, first thing we'll do, we'll just print hello world. I just like to do this. Everyone should do it, just to make sure everything's working. So it's working. We are good. Okay. All right. Now, WebRTC. So let's see what it is and how it's going to work. So what I'm looking for is sort of a diagram which sort of shows different components of WebRTC. Yeah, let's Google it. Okay, let's see what Wikipedia says. Yeah, not much. Okay, let's go. Let's just type in WebRTC tutorial. If we can find some nice pics to look at. There we go. There we go. Lots of code. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. So, as you can see in this diagram. Okay, so basically this is the part we're going to make. Okay, we're going to make this, but we're going to do it in Python instead of browser. So you do this in JavaScript if you want to do it for browsers. But we're doing it in Python. But essentially we're developing this part today. Okay. Alright. Now you also need something called signaling. Okay. And that signaling, we need to do that as well. Okay. Alright. So let's say components of WebRTC. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm spelling components correct, but anyways, okay. So the first part is actually your Python client, okay, or you can call it peer. Okay. So it's going to be a peer. The second thing is going to be the signaling server, okay, and the third component is going to be a turn/stun server, okay, and you need all three for this to work across the internet. Okay, it is going to work without okay, it's going to work on your local machine without signaling. Okay, I'm sorry, without turn. So it will work on your local machine. So work locally, but not across internet. So if you want your application to work across the internet, you need the turn server as well, or the stun server. Okay, so we'll look into that more detail. But for now, we're gonna focus on actually, why not? Yeah, you know what? Let's make both of these guys together. Okay, and this one is very easy to do because we're just gonna, get. Yeah, for this we're gonna use either the free stun servers, which is usually Google. So let's have a look. Free stun servers. So there's lots of them. Okay, yeah. So there's a list of all these servers. We can just use any of these, I guess. I usually go for the Google one. Yeah, so I usually use this one. Okay. So if you want to use the stun server, this one here, then okay, well, there's a difference between stun and turn, and we'll go into that later. Anyways, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna focus on these two guys for now. Okay, the Python client and signaling server. So one thing I want to add here, this turn server is also going to be pretty straightforward. We're gonna use something called core turn server. So if you just go to the GitHub project, yeah, so it's just here. It's free, open source, very easy to install. I think it's just one line install. Yeah, but we'll do that later. Okay, we'll deploy this on AWS, or maybe we'll do it on I don't know. We'll do it somewhere. Okay. All right. So this will probably be on AWS. Okie dokie. Okay, so the signaling server, that's going to be on AWS as well. Okay. So these two will be on AWS, so they will be accessible from anywhere in the world. Okay, through the internet, across the internet, and this guy will be on your local machines. So this will be behind NAT. Okay, this will be behind NAT. Okay, and then these two guys will allow us okay, or these two guys will allow this guy to talk to other guys like this, if it makes sense. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna do is signaling server. Okay, so let's do it. Enough talk. All right. So what we need? We're gonna need Flask for this. Okay, so now let's talk about Flask. Okay. Flask Python. All right. Oh, okay. Let me add one more thing here quickly. So this guy is done in Python as well. Okay, and this will remain in Python. So the signaling server will be in Python, but the clients can be in any language. Okay, so your client might be in JavaScript, might be in C#, Unity, but this guy will just be in Python. So let's do this one first. Okay, so Flask. Let's get Flask. So since we're gonna do signaling first, let me just rename this guy here. Okay, it's just gonna be signaling.py. Okay, much easier. Now, so first thing first, we need to install Flask. Why I'm sounding British, I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Well, I know how to install Flask. Let's just pip install Flask. There we go. So now we have Flask. Let's see how to create a simple app in Flask Python. That's how I like to code. Okay, I don't like to write my code myself. I like to copy, because yeah, it's easier that way, isn't it? Alright, so we copy this guy here. Again, if you're new to Flask, why? So just Google it. Okay. Alright, there we go. So what this is going to do for us is going to create a new server on local machine. So let's just tell it that create a server on localhost. You can select a port. We're going to do it on port, I don't know, 6969, if you know what I mean. And we can also do debug true. Perfect. So let's run it. And I'll just do Control F5. There we go. Let's have a look at our newly created server. Did you see that? How quick that is. It's awesome. So now you have a website running, or a server running on your local machine. So yeah, okay. Let's stop it for now. This one I'm just gonna keep it as test. So I'm just gonna say test. Okay. And then it's just gonna return. Okay. Okay, alright. So now we're gonna create few methods here, few functions. Alright, so let's just create them. Okay, so there's going to be 4 functions that we need. Okay, so first one is gonna be called, let's call it offer. Second one is going to be answer. Okay, and the third one is gonna be get offer, and the fourth one is get answer. Okay, so how it works is basically the client who wants to talk to another client or another peer will create an offer. Okay, through WebRTC, it's going to create an offer. It will send that offer to the signaling server. Okay, that signaling server is then going to pass that offer to another client. Okay, and by doing so, they create a direct channel between the two. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. So I missed something. So yeah. So Alright, why not we create it step by steps here? Okay, so let's just say process to create peer-to-peer connection. Okay, so client 1, okay, creates an offer, sends to signaling server. Okay, client 2 requests for an offer. Okay, and if it gets an offer, then it's going to create an answer. Creates an answer. So it gets the offer and then creates an answer. Third step is going to be client 2 is now going to send the answer back to the signaling server. Okay, signaling server. And finally, client 1 receives the answer. Okay, and once that's done, if everything goes right, a direct connection is created between client 1 and 2. Okay, so that's why we need these 4 methods. So the first one is to send the offer to the server. From there, client 2 is going to receive that offer. Okay, and then client 2 is going to create an answer and send it back to the signaling server. Okay, and then client 1 then going to receive that answer. Okay, hope it's clear. So yeah, this is what we need to do. So signaling server in itself doesn't do much. All it does, it acts as an intermediary. It takes a message from one client, send it to the another. Okay, and that's all it does. So it allows 2 clients to pass some information, and once they both have the required information, the connection is created and the signaling server is no longer needed. Okay, right. So all right, so what all right, let's have a look. Now I already have this created here, so I'm just gonna copy and paste it. I've created it beforehand. So yeah, but we're gonna do it slowly. Okay, so you don't miss anything. First, we're gonna get few things from Flask here. So there we go. It's good. We're gonna need JSON as well. So let's import that guy as well. Import JSON. Yeah, you don't have to install it. It should already be there. Okay. Okay. Here I have a dictionary storing data. Okay. So it's just a dictionary which is going to store the offer when it gets from client 1, and then when client 2 requests the offer, we're going to fetch it from this dictionary and send it to them. Similarly, we're going to store the answer here as well, so we can pass it to client 1. Okay. Okay, so I've done this here, so I'll just do this. So this is just to see that my server is running, right? So I can just call this method or call this URL, and it will tell me that your server is still working. Let's give it a go. There you go. Okay, so now there's nothing on root, so that's why it says nothing found. That's okay. What we want to say is just test. Okay, so it will return something like this. It just tells us our service is running. That's all. Okay, let's go back. Alright, so in offer, what we have here, let's put it here. Okay, so the offer is going to look in request and say what the type of the request is. If it's offer, then we're going to just store everything under offer inside this dictionary. Okay, should be pretty clear, but we'll run it and it'll become more clear. Okay. Similarly, we have answer. Now I'll put this code in description or something, and you can just copy and paste it. Okay. To correct indentation. Then we have get offer, get this as well, and finally we have get answer. Okay. Awesome. So now we have all these 4 methods in place. So as you can see, request, in offer, we take the offer, we store it in dictionary, and that's it. Okay. And then for answer, we get the answer and store it in the dictionary. And in get offer, we just get whatever is stored in the dictionary and return it to the client or whoever's requesting it. Okay. And similarly, when someone asks for the answer, we go and get that answer. We also delete them. So we delete the offer after it's been given to someone. Okay. So we don't want to keep it. We just delete it. Similarly, we do the same thing for the answer. Okay. So this is pretty straightforward. If it's not, then yeah, you won't be able to do it. Sorry. Just kidding. Okay. So this is all we need to do for signaling. Okay. So as you can see, we have already done this bit. Okay. All right. So let me just stop it here. Yeah, let's just stop it. Okay.